guys, what y'all are seeing right now is absolute hypocrisy. It's like chef's kiss, political hypocrisy right now. Gavin Newsom, the king of do as I say, not as I do, is mad about Trump cleaning up DC streets and missing the comedic gold that he literally did the exact same thing in San Francisco, but only for an outsider, a political figure. Dude hit the overnight super gloss cleanup mode because diplomatic bling is greater than human beings. He said, and I quote, "They're just cleaning up this place because those fancy leaders are coming into town." That's Newsom himself confessing the deliberate effort. Gavin is the epitome of the house that cleans up when company comes over, but won't lift the fucking mop on your day-to-day. San Francisco went from tent city to Disneyland Main Street. Sidewalks with spotless, tents gone, not a syringe in sight. Why? Because Gavin didn't want the world's cameras showing what the city really looked like. His words were basically, yeah, we cleaned it up because the fancy people were coming. He literally admitted it. But now he's mad at Trump because Trump's getting rid of the bullshit in DC? Come on, man. Pour me the fuck up. So yeah, Newsom's sudden obsession with curb appeal is not leadership. That shit is theater. And now he's pointing the finger. That's TV level hypocrisy. You don't even need to spin the shit because it's already spinning around your head. Mr. Gavin Newsom, you don't get to lecture anybody about hypocrisy when your whole career is a Pinterest board of it. You clean up the streets when someone important is watching. The rest of the time is, let the locals step over needles and human shit. Don't act brand new, bro. We see you. I see you. I remember. I saw it. White chocolate. Yeah, I'm still bringing that shit up. Dude dubbed himself white fucking chocolate at my church. Mr. Yes, we can, but only when the fancy people are looking. Sit down.
You know, Dwayne in that last clip was right on point, but I'm just going to add just a little pushback about this thing because Gavin Newsom is not really mad at Trump. You see, Gavin Newsom doesn't feel anything at all. He's not operating on emotion. Gavin Newsom is literally a shell, a political machine in a suit. His entire mind is wired for one thing and one thing only, that's power, that's money, that's control, that's ambition, and that's prestige. And here's the strange part. He's so polished in his delivery, he's so smooth in his mannerisms that the evil almost appears kind. I know that kind of sounds wild, but history shows us that some of the most destructive leaders mastered the art of seeming benevolent. That is why so many people underestimate him and all the others. The average person, they just can't seem to wrap their mind around the level of greed and self-interest of someone like Gavin Newsom and even Karen Bass. So the brain sort of creates an illusion, an imaginary good guy version of who they think he is. But the reality is Gavin Newsom's policies have been wrecking California for years and years and years and continue to do so, and he would love to do more. Meanwhile, we have President Trump, whether you love or hate him, and that's trivial too because people were made to hate him. He's talking about cleaning up the streets, getting people jobs, cutting costs, making communities safer. Now, if Gavin Newsom was talking about the same thing, he'd be praised. But what's the response from Newsom and the Democrats? They're not talking about any policy solutions. They're not talking about public safety plans. No, they're talking about holding on to power. They're talking about them staying in office. They're talking about them keeping the money flowing. And they package it as we, as if you and I are included in their victories. Look around. Look around California right now. Does it look like we are winning? Families getting priced out. The median home price is now $900,000 statewide, the highest in the nation. More than 28% of California households spend over half their income on rent alone. And then there's the homelessness. It has exploded. California now has over 180,000 homeless residents, more than any other state by far. Do you see that on the nightly news? No. Of course not, because mainstream media is the Democrats' PR department. They won't risk exposing the failures of their own team. They're the propaganda machine, and they know their job. Remember when Biden was clearly struggling publicly, visibly, and yet the media told you that he was sharp as a tack? That was a test. Once you see someone's mental decline with your own eyes and the media still tells you the opposite, you should realize these people will lie to your face without hesitation. And once you catch them, you should never listen to them again. But here's the catch. The lie is so big, the lie is so massive that people struggle to even imagine it's a lie. And that's exactly how they keep winning. And now we hear them ranting about gerrymandering and voting integrity, all while the same questionable systems keep them, the Democrats, in power. Let's be real. Who in their right mind votes for leaders who raise taxes, who expand homelessness, who flood neighborhoods with illegal immigration costs and strangle small businesses? Who in their right mind? Who willingly chooses higher crime, higher prices, and fewer jobs? Small contractors are being undercut by unlicensed labor. Shop owners are losing customers because sidewalks have turned into flea markets for stolen goods. Construction workers are priced out of their own trade, yet these same politicians keep winning elections. Are you really buying that? I'm not. And I'll go a step just a little bit further. Something doesn't add up. Call it suspicion, call it instinct, call it a pattern recognition. But if you're a legal citizen, there is no upside to having people like Newsom in office. So either you're completely brainwashed, or you're not voting, or there's something fishy going on behind the scenes. And in California, politics, history has shown us if you smell smoke, there's usually fire. Anyway, we've got a packed show today. We're going deep on Newsom, the machine that keeps him in power, and what's coming next for California. I'm Wolf Kage, and this is Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Let's go.
I don't understand it, and I don't think I ever will. Why the fuck is people that's not from the city saying DC's not that bad? Why is a nigga from Denver, Colorado saying DC's not that bad and Trump is just trying to be a dictator? Gang, DC is fucking like Gotham City, bruh. Like, y'all do not know. Y'all out of towners, mo. Mind y'all fucking business, bruh. 4 infants got killed in a month. This shoe is every day. Contact is every day. The city is fucking wild right now, bruh. And it might say it's the lowest it's ever been. That's because these niggas is not getting caught. There's so much shit going on. Y'all don't even know, bruh. I'm really recovering from getting shot in DC, gang. So for y'all out of towners to be like DC's not that bad and this shit don't need to be done, y'all don't know shit, bruh.
You know, when I talk to friends, when I talk to family, I see it firsthand. So many of them just eat up whatever the mainstream media serves. No questions asked. I keep telling folks over and over and over and over again, the folks on TV are paid to say certain things, paid to frame a story in a way that makes you think in a certain way. As I have said before, you will never see someone who actually lives in the neighborhoods hit hardest by the crime, by the violence, by the chaos being interviewed on national television. Why? Because they don't want you to know how bad it really is. Instead, you'll see someone like Simone Sanders on TV smiling and talking like she lives in the heart of the inner city, like it's all good, like there's nothing to worry about. But let's be real. Of course she feels safe. She's got security. She's not walking down streets where kids have to dodge gang crossfire on the way to school. She's not stepping over tents, broken glass, and used needles just to get to the store. And she doesn't have to live where most people live. Statistically, there are way more poor people and working class people than there are rich. But whose voices do you hear? It's not ours. As you just saw in that clip, that man is telling the truth. He's frustrated. He's done sugarcoating it, and he's speaking candidly because he's sick of it. He lives in it. Right now, we actually have an opportunity to help, to clean up our neighborhoods, stop the killings, stop the robberies, stop the graffiti, stop the nonsense. But who's on TV fighting against it? People who don't live here, who don't live there, people who don't want the help. And why? Because they benefit from the chaos. They do not want stability. Stability does not make them richer. Instability does. And here's what really burns me up. These people get on camera and say they're speaking for Black people or speaking for this community or that community. No, you're not speaking for us. If you were, you'd actually come here. You sit down with someone like me, sit down with someone like him. You put the cameras on us and let us speak. But you don't. Instead, you feed America propaganda, a neatly packaged narrative designed to brainwash viewers into thinking these neighborhoods don't need help. And you have to remember, there's a balance the elites want to keep. For someone to be super rich, there has to be someone who is super poor. It has always been that way. Look at history. Ancient Rome, feudal Europe, even the industrial age. It's the same formula. The wealth at the top thrives on the struggle at the bottom. And most people at the bottom don't even realize it, which is exactly how the system stays in place. DC is a goddamn mess. New York, goddamn mess. But here in Los Angeles, it's a tragedy. Homeless encampments in every neighborhood. Crime bleeding into once safe areas, streets that look like something out of a third world country. And what's Newsom doing about it? Absolutely nothing. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what Newsom is really doing and what his inaction means for the future of this city. Check it out.
To do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional map.
So as you just saw in that short clip, Gavin Newsom has decided to pour all his energy into redistricting California, a state already locked down by a Democratic political machine. Think about that. Not homelessness, not crime, not the fact that California gas prices are over $5.50 a gallon on the low side, the highest in the nation. Not the pothole riddled streets or the mountains of trash lining Alameda and downtown Los Angeles. Of course not. Nope, he's focused on drawing political maps that will help him, his cronies, and his donors keep control. You'd have to be out of your damn mind to hear that agenda and say, yeah, I'll vote for him again. But the sad reality is this. A lot of people are either brainwashed or just not really paying attention. And you better believe behind closed doors, these politicians see it that way too. I bet any money, Newsom doesn't call them loyal voters in private. He calls them suckers. People voting against their own interests, then packing up and leaving the state when the consequences hit home. And let's not forget the LA fires. Remember those LA fires that happened 20 years ago? No. A few months ago. Wildfires ripped through parts of Los Angeles, displacing thousands. For Newsom, it's like it's never happened. He doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't even mention it. He doesn't address the aftermath. He doesn't offer any solutions. It's the same indifference we saw when Karen Bass took a vacation after being warned about the potential fires. That's the kind of leadership we're dealing with here, which is not leadership at all. And now Newsom's spending his time recording a podcast with Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke. Two politicians chatting like high schoolers at a cafeteria table while California hangs on by a thread. You have to ask yourself, who in hell does that? Who prioritizes political theater over a state drowning in real problems? The answer? Someone who sees chaos not as a crisis, but as a business model. Because make no mistake, chaos pays. Not for us, not for the citizens, but for the politicians and for the people funding them to keep the chaos going. Check out this next clip of Newsom at a press conference pretending to defend democracy. Watch closely because what he's actually doing is the exact opposite.
So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew. And so I'm grateful to all of the remarkable leaders that have stepped up this unifying effort here in the state of California. And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, a special election coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps, to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite.
Just look at all those phony baloney people standing behind them. All of those people are hoping that they'll get a little piece of the pie. A little piece of the pie on the backs of us, the American citizens. Now, keep in mind, what Gavin Newsom is trying to do here is literally illegal under California law. But, of course, that's not going to stop him. No, he's a tyrant. He's trying to plant the seed in people's minds that it's perfectly fine, counting on the fact that most folks don't realize it violates the California Constitution. See, in Texas, their redistricting is legal. It's right there in their state constitution. They're allowed to do it. Here in California, the rules are crystal clear. Redistricting can only happen once every 10 years, period. Yet, in a desperate attempt to hold on to power against the will of the people, Newsom is pushing to break that law and convince you it's a noble cause. And here's the kicker. You're paying for it, not him, not his donors, not the special interests, you, the California taxpayer. You're footing the bill for an unconstitutional power grab. More taxes used against you, against me. Tell me how that is representation. I can't stress this enough. There is nothing democratic about the Democratic Party. The name itself is an oxymoron. They're against true democracy, but they keep repeating the word over and over again. Democracy, 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 like a magic spell, knowing it will fool people who don't know any better. And sadly, there are a lot of people who don't know any better, and they count on that. They count on that ignorance to stay in power. You know what? Check this clip out. Is Newsom putting on a show pretending to defend people when in reality he's defending his own grip on power? Let's go.
We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process.
That's who we are.
We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done that. That's the difference.
There is nothing transparent about Newsom. This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with me. We are the people. We didn't choose this. So now Newsom's latest scheme. He wants a statewide vote to change California's constitution so they can gerrymander every 2 years instead of every 10. And why? Because California is shifting. That's why. It's slowly turning Republican. People are waking up. Parents are done with gender ideology in schools. Taxpayers are fed up with sky-high rates. Small business owners are sick of crushing regulations and the COVID-era lockdown insanity, and Newsom knows it. This isn't about modernizing elections. No. This is about cementing power forever. You see, Newsom and his cronies see their grip slipping. So they're using Hollywood, they're using mainstream media, and they're using taxpayer-funded propaganda to brainwash the very people footing the bill. And here's the thing. Newsom's been wanting to do this for years, but now he knows this may be his last shot. The problem for him is too many Californians are waking up right now. Too many are saying no, and they're saying it loud. You just won't see it on CNN. You won't see it in the LA Times. They're hiding the voices of common sense because those voices ruin the narrative. If Newsom pulled this off, California as we know it would be gone. The middle class, wiped out, replaced by low-wage, illegal labor, and an ultra-rich ruling class. That's the plan. And here's another kicker. California would be the testing ground for a 1984 style control state. Forget Project 2025. You need to be looking at Project 2030. Newsom is all in on it, and people refuse to believe it's happening, even though the evidence is right in front of your eyes. Common sense says, if he rigs the district to keep California permanently blue, your vote is meaningless. There's no competition, no choice, just permanent one-party rule. Does that sound like democracy? Look at the Palisades, right after the fires. They already had plans drawn up for low-income housing in what used to be one of the wealthiest areas in the state. And now, on his podcast, Newsom's laying out the next move, something he's been planning for years, blaming Trump to make it seem like it's necessary. And of course, they roll out the whole tired line calling Trump Hitler while they act like real tyrants because they are the real tyrants. Here's the truth. Under Trump, you can live your life as long as you're not breaking the law. Under these people, criminals run free, but law-abiding citizens are restricted to death. Check out this clip.
You know, you and I, when we were in school, were looking at the people in Germany in 1933. That guy's named chancellor in January of that year. In 53 days, he has destroyed German democracy. The parliament or the Congress, their legislature passed these enabling laws, just like the Republicans are doing in Congress today, that said, anything you want, you go out and do it. And he goes from being this buffoonish, clownish thug who can barely hold power to the undisputed master and dictator of the German people. And I know this shit doesn't repeat, but it sure as hell rhymes. And we've got to be listening to that right now and acting with the urgency that the moment demands from us. And again, I got to tell you, I see you doing that right now. I wish there were more who were doing that. I love what J.B. Pritzker is doing in Illinois. You know, Kathy Hochul has made some noise in New York that they're going to use that power they have there.
Because that Atlantic article in January that someone sent me about the 53 days, it scared the hell out of me, but I was honestly timid to send it around, because anytime you associate anything with what happened in Germany in the 30s and Hitler, everyone then panics. But that is a must-read article for anyone that needs a little brush up in their history lesson. Everything you just said is real. It happened from within, and it happened in 53 damn days. We're just 6 months in, Beto. This guy's just getting started.
This guy is so, I don't even know the words to describe it, because it seems like, at least to me, people should be able to see through this, see through him. Just look at California. Like, come on. But for some reason, some people can't see it. And it's just mind-boggling to me. I just can't, I don't even know how to get people to see it. Anyway, this story is still developing and it's heating up fast. What matters now is that we the people, we the common sense people, get this message out. Somehow, some way, we have to get folks to understand exactly what is at stake here. This is not democracy. This is the opposite. The Democrats aren't about democracy. They're about control. They are tyrants. And here's the trick. They accuse Trump of being exactly what they are. That's projection. And they've mastered it. Remember, the devil always shows up dressed as an angel and always blames his own sins on the angels. Now, I'm not saying Trump is an angel, but I am saying these people are devils, period. And they've been deceiving the public for years. We have got to get people to wake up. Anyway, I'm Wolf Kage, and this has been Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll talk more about this soon. Please stay unwoke. Peace.